vice versa?
I think in this world, really, it's your naval pilot. There isn't a marine pilot. So the Marines are essentially what the Marines used to be in the days of old, which is sort of the
Pounding.
yeah. I mean, they're essentially the sort of naval soldiers that will be on ship to ship combat and defending the ship.
Okay.
I think Grunts.
The Marines, and there will be some sort of
Zynga.
our game, not necessarily, but they would also be involved in some level of sort of like, an assault, infantry assault. But generally, the air arm of the Navy, it's not like the Marines have become, not like in the current. Like, think of them closer to, I think the Royal Navy Marines is maybe a better model than the U.S. Marines. Because I don't think the Royal Navy Marines fly their own craft. I think they're the dudes with the...
In your universe, they'll be true to their name. Marines, my ass rides, and Navy equipment.
Yes. Bless your heart for knowing that.
I just can't wait until we're trying to defend the Bengal and like a Marine shoots like a fuel line and the whole thing's just like.
I'm ready to do that. Actually, I have a quick question about Squadron 42 and modding. In Freelancer and games where we've had modding capabilities, we've been able to impact existing maps and make our own, but it's almost always been on the two-player side. Trying to create a sort of single-player campaign has always been way out of our reach, technically. I know there's a lot of role players. I know that we have a lot of talented writers. How accessible do you think really basic stuff like setting up a mission, not talking about motion capture, really
No, I think you'll have an
NPCs?
ability to do that with what we're doing versus what you had to do with Freelancer because, again, it's in the CryEngine and the sandbox already handles a lot of that, so you should be able to do that.
So you think with the
I think you
modding
can
tools-
already kind of do some of that stuff if you were modding Crisis 2 or Crisis 3.
So you think that that kind of level of modding is sort of single-player story, if they want to put it on the forums for download, is the sort of thing that a Star Citizen community member might be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you look at what you could do in the CryEngine or like look at Crisis 2 and what you could do on the modding like that, those same sort of things will be available, but obviously it's more specifically for Star Citizen on the modding side.
Because
We're not reinventing the wheel. I mean, we build like some of the story stuff all that way inside the editor too. So there's no reason to sort of disable it.
Good stuff.
So another question from chat. In a previous stretch goal that we had passed during the original campaign, we had a cruiser mentioned, and they want to know how big that is compared to destroyer in the 13 million goal, and
the cruiser is going to be bigger than the destroyer and smaller than the Bengal carrier.
when will we see information on the cruiser?
Not in the next month or two, but that'll be one of the ships that we're designing. We just haven't started the design on it. So we've been sort of focusing more on the player ships, that we've announced basically the 14 ships, so we've got to get done. So you can see them in the hangar. Not necessarily that you're going to get to see all the ships right now in the hangar, because a few of them are still works in progress. But that's what we've been sort of focusing, and less on sort of some of the additional stuff like like other big cap ships or whatever. Was that answer so profound that you guys just suddenly
Shut down.
We're all just like, we're just
I-
dumbfounded.
I'm just trying to wrap my headache brain around chat. It's just breaking me.
Well, there's a lot of repeats going on, and we're trying to mitigate.
People are spamming questions.
And then there's so
Sorry, guys,
much
we've already
coming in at
talked about the
once.
multiple account things. You're not going to get more out of that.
Guys, be merciful. Kid Shadow is just a man.
I'm not a man. What are you talking
He's a
about? I am a super being.
And plus, if you're asking the same question over and over and we haven't brought it up to him, there's probably a reason. No offense, dudes.
In Bringer, you should ask Rob that question. That was his thread. I don't know. You might actually be talking to Rob. I don't know. There's probably another stream going on.
Oh yeah, he is monitoring chat roll too.
Just address that to Rob.
Are there player control factories?
Hey, by the way, is this coffee or something?
Yes, Kin Shadow is a demigod.
it.
Gotta do some tea.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Man,
Put
all
down
this,
a-
Settle that.
all this time I thought you were like an android.
I think it's just
Does alcohol improve Mr. Roberts' skills?
It's hazelnut.
At least learn how to spell alcohol, man. Alchul?
Alchul.
Yeah, the true lost for the win.
Alchul. Lord of the Damned.
I thought you were about to say Lord of the Dance. Like you got some river dancing going
that
up on
works
here.
too. Alchul, Lord of the Dance. Yes.
Oh, man.
The other question. So during combat on larger ships, what can we expect in terms of environmental effects, like flashing lights or debris or smoke or anything like that during combat?
Well, on a larger ship.
Yeah, on larger ships.
Yes, I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
I think the most important question is,
Super ship.
if I'm standing up, is that a bad thing when the ship gets hit?
Yeah, no, I asked that earlier. It's like
Strap
we could
in.
get sucked out, like if there was
Well,
explosive
no, not
decompression.
necessarily like sucked out, but like,
Oh,
there's a
knocked
big
around.
impact and get knocked around like Star Trek.
Okay, cool.
If there's an impact on a big ship, we will apply an impulse to the people inside the ship.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Is it possible if you're like in a turret and it gets hit real good? Is it possible for the turret to like get totally severed off and be like floating around with you, being like, no?
And what you gotta do then is use the turret to propel yourself back towards the ship.
Try.
Okay, I can promise you that feature actually won't be in the game.
Okay.
Aw.
So at least we get it for sure.
I saw this one pop up, and it's making me curious too, because I see you guys walk out of that door every once in a while. Someone asked, "What's upstairs?" Because there's that awesome staircase going up there, and
That's where RSL2 was.
Yeah, channel we can show, but upstairs is where the office is. Basically, where everyone does all the workstations. That's where we're upstairs. So downstairs is the conference room, which we're in, the kitchen area, and sort of like I guess the seating area that you can sort of see out through the window. Upstairs is the big open work plan where everyone's got their workstations, and we basically actually do the real work. Down here is where we sort of chin wag, either in the kitchen or on here in the conference room.
nice.